And we are thrilled to say hello to Mike Locksley, welcome him back into the Big Ten. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations. I know during the press conference, you several times referred to this as your, quote, dream job. Why is that the case?
You know, Rick, it's great to be back. And, you know, as I said, when I got into this coaching profession, you know, I cut my teeth here at Maryland. I spent 10 years of my 27, 28 years in the business, learning right here on the job at the University of Maryland. I grew up in the shadows of Maryland Stadium and in the Cole Fieldhouse. You know, as a kid growing up in the DMV, we root for the home team, and man, I grew up rooting hard for the Terps, and I had an opportunity to see the Terps in the 80s, how successful they were under Boomer and Frank Reich and all those great players, and then to be a part of being on the coaching staff that won the ACC championship and won 30 games in 3 years under Ralph Friedgen. You know, I've been able to see the good, bad, and ugly of Maryland, and it's something that I've always held near and dear to my heart. And, boy, I'm excited to be back home.
Mike, how much was this decision, both for you and for Maryland, about comfort, about fit, about you understanding not just the football aspect, but the entire cultural aspect of the team, the program, and the school?
You know, that's it. That's just it. You know, I've just spent the past 3 years saturated in winning at Alabama under Coach Saban, and having a chance to get behind the walls of the great storied Alabama football program and learn under Nick Saban the past 3 years and see how that thing is done has given me the vision and blueprint for what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And, you know, we've got a lot of those things in place here at Maryland. The big concern that obviously was answered during the hiring process was making sure that everybody was aligned. You know, that's the one thing when being at Alabama, to see the alignment of the president, the athletic director, and Coach Saban, all three of those guys pulling in the same direction to make that program great. And once I came here and had a chance to meet with Dr. Lowe and Damon Evans and get a feel for their vision of where they want the Maryland football family to go, it was an easy decision for me once the job was offered.
Mike, it won't be easy for you to juggle over the next month as you get ready to help Alabama get ready for the CFP semifinal, but at the same time do what needs to be done at Maryland. The early signing period just a couple of weeks away. What will the next 2 to 4 weeks be like for you?
Yeah, I think the big thing, and luckily for me, being at Alabama, Coach Saban has a process and a blueprint for every situation. You know, this isn't his first rodeo with dealing with a coach on his staff, having taken over a different program. Last year it was Jeremy Pruitt taking over Tennessee as we prepared for the national championship run. You know, I'm working all Maryland from now until probably next Thursday when I report back to Tuscaloosa. Once I get back there, all of my energy efforts will be in putting together an offensive game plan to compete against Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. And while we're practicing and working at Alabama on Oklahoma, I'm coaching for the University of Alabama. And then at night, once we're done there, I'm going to put my Maryland Terps hat on. I'll be working recruiting. I'll be working getting together a staff, putting together the foundation we need to have so once the football season is done for us at Alabama, we can hit the ground running as Terps.
Mike, this team and this program has been through a very rough stretch, and you have a personal connection, having lost a son of your own recently, not long before the McNairs lost Jordan. How does that allow you to speak to this team and to be able to empower the leadership on this team to make sure that mentally this team is where it needs to be as you start to rebuild?
Yeah, that's just it. Having lost Miko, my son, a little over a year and a half ago, and then having the personal connection with Jordan. You know, my daughter Corey and Jordan attended the same high school, graduated the same year. You know, I can remember them both signing their national letters on the same day, Corey going to Auburn and Jordan coming here to Maryland. You know, myself and Marty, his dad, and my wife Kia and Tanya, Jordan's mom, you know, we're in a unique club that's not one that I wouldn't want any other parent to have to deal with. The circle of life isn't built for parents burying their children. And so there's a connection with Marty and Tanya way bigger than my affiliation with the Maryland football program, because we both lost our kids, our sons, and you know, it's been a tough struggle for myself and my family, as I know it's been for Marty and Tanya and the Maryland football family, because, you know, it affects everyone when you lose a child. And it's been great for Marty and I to use each other as a sounding board over the last year and a half. It's been great to get to know Tanya as well. And so, you know, what we want to do now is make sure, and I told Marty and Tanya this, is make sure we do everything we can to honor our loved ones. Myself as the head coach of the family, I want to honor my son Miko by being the best that I can possibly be as a leader and as a father figure to these players. And I want our team to go out and fight and put a product on the field that Jordan would be very proud of his brothers.
Coach, you've always been known as a profound recruiter, a player's coach. Also, the numbers your offense has put up at Alabama this year have been staggering. But talk about how the last 10 years have shaped you, have molded you, what you've learned that prepared you for this time to be the Terps head man, to be a head coach in College Park.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I didn't know how to say it until I got to Alabama and heard it and learned it from Coach Saban, is that you don't lose, you learn. And, you know, over the last 10 years, you know, some of the things that I've been through personally as a coach, as a former head coach, as an assistant, you know, I just take all those experiences and I use them as learning experiences, good or bad. You know, that's the one thing we do at Alabama that I think is so important, is that you quality control every part of your program and everything that you do, so that you can look at it from inside out and figure out what we did well, what we didn't do well, how can we do it better. And those are some of the traits and some of the little things that I've learned from being under Coach Saban and part of the Alabama program that we're going to utilize here at Maryland to develop and build this program into something special in the Big Ten.
Locks, before we let you go, there's one thing that you could have never been prepared for, and that is one of the guys who you used to coach, I know different sides of the ball, and Layman over here, is going to have the ability to critique and analyze your coaching ability this year with Maryland. I mean, let's be honest, how uncomfortable does that make you feel?
Well, he already started doing that about 2006 or 7, being the linebacker on our Rose Bowl team, and we used to go at it, and we had some great players on that side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, he would critique us then. I can remember a quote in the paper where the defense got after us in a scrimmage over in Rantoul, and O.J. Layman, with his characteristic, you know, he's a great character, talked about what a sieve was in the offensive line. And I had never heard the word sieve before, and so I had to look it up. And so the next day when I saw Jay, I said, oh, yeah, a sieve, huh, Jay? And so the next couple of scrimmages, I proceeded to try to knock his tail off every chance we could get. So I know he's got some payback for me.
A couple of scrimmages. First of all, the next 2 weeks, I didn't hear the end of it, right? During 9 on 7, it was literally all the time. The sieve, the sieve, the sieve. Every time I've seen you, Coach Locke, since then, within about 5 minutes, it's like, how's that sieve doing? It just
no,
is not
5 minutes. I think it took about 30 seconds when we started talking with Coach.
I will say this, and Rick Pizzo can back me up. When there was going to be a vacancy at Maryland, I said there's one guy on the list. It needs to be Mike Locksley. Coach, great to see you back home. Wishing you all the success in the world.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Rick, man. It's great to be back.